If somebody is not a US citizen looking to invest in the US, how can you help them make that a reality?
Yeah, it's funny you asked. I just had a phone call earlier this morning with a group out of Singapore who's looking to buy an apartment building here. Normally, when you have non-US citizens, you're looking at a lower leverage deal. So there's financing available for it, but normally when you get 75 to 80%, we use an apartment building as an example, you're probably gonna scale that back to 60 to 65. Because there is still risk that if the bank forecloses, that there's no real recourse on the deal. So in order for them to mitigate that risk, they say, you know what? In a worst case scenario, after foreclose, I'm not going to lose my leverage only at 60 or 65%. I'll be able to sell it, be able to recoup my money, and move on. So there is a lot of that available, and especially in Washington D.C., we are seeing a ton of international developers and buyers coming in. So I probably get a phone call at least once a week from somebody who's not a U.S. citizen looking to buy in the area, and there's financing available. I mean, look, as the world becomes more connected, people are buying all over. So there has to be that opportunity for international people to come in and buy, in the United States. I mean, I always get the question is why is the United States doing better from a commercial real estate standpoint than the rest of the world? So I don't have a good answer for it, but I can only tell you what I hear from people that are much smarter than I am, which is if you just look at the global economy right now, if you had to choose one country to park your money in, where are you going to park it? So the obvious answer is America, right? Everything else is just too tumultuous all over all over the world. So there's a lot of people that just come in because they don't think there's a safer investment anywhere else, and that's brought in. I think that's been good and bad. It's been good because you're able to sell at crazy evaluations right now. So like you're saying, the someone who's looking to sell their house, they're selling at crazy high prices. So the same in the commercial real estate side. So there are people that probably never thought about selling that are just getting absolute bonkers offers, to sell. And they're selling. They're like, you know what? That's great. I've never thought I'd see that type of money in my life, and they sell. So that part's good. The downside is if you're actively in the midst of your career to build out a portfolio or to start in the real estate sector, you're really coming in at a very, very high point of entry. Right. So cap rates are like sub 5% on most multifamily, and in some areas even sub 4%. So you're really buying at the peak of the market. So the question is, do you wait? Do you just, jump in? So it's really a very unusual period that I haven't seen in my career where this, for someone who's graduating college and then wanting to start buying, small, fix and flip homes, or someone who's looking to leave their current, company and start their own, right? So the question is now the time to do it? But there's a lot of capital in the market right now, both from debt and equity. And I'll give the general U.S. government and state of politics credit for that because of what they've been able to do over the pandemic, which they've been able to put a lot of capital back into the U.S. economy, right? So there's a ton of banks that are looking to put money out because they have it because it's sitting there because most people over the past year and a half have really not gone out and done the normal traveling or gone out to eat. And so, when you think about you saving $10,000 a year, multiply that by 340 million people who live in the United States, right? There's so much money, right? And then all the money that people have gotten pumped into their bank accounts from the government also. So the flip side is yes, you may be buying it at the peak of the market, but there's a hell of a lot of money out there for you to be able to buy that probably wasn't there 5 years ago.